He's claiming that during that episode when he was in a 5150 hold and in a rehab facility, no one told him that cannabis might have caused his psychosis, despite the fact he tested positive for THC. And that's because he blew the statute of limitations. Then claims December of last year had another one of these episodes. They don't go into detail about what happened, but that's when he was first told that his vaping high THC products multiple times a day might have caused his cannabis-induced psychosis. Now, the other thing that they're claiming in this suit is that the marketing was directed at children, especially teenagers, okay? And they put a bunch of pictures in there and pictures of products. And some of their claims are that they use the names of sweet products, Purple Punch, Gelato, birthday cake. No mention in there that these are strains of cannabis that were developed irrespective whether children knew about it or not. They're given, I mean, that's what you, when you buy it from a farm, it's gelato, it's birthday cake. This is not a Stiiizy owned, brand. They're out there. And they also made some claims about using bright colors, and that the dispensaries have, bass heavy music and flashing lights, and it's like, okay, what is it, Studio 39 or whatever the fuck it was in New York? Or is this something that is being marketed to people over the age of 21? Now, Stiiizy's response to this is that we put on our labels, this is for people over the age of 21, and which California requires. We also have a Prop 65 warning out here about how cannabis might cause cancer, despite the fact there's never been a cannabis caused cancer that anybody could ever find. We have to put it on the label. And at some point, you just have to start asking, how much stuff do we have to put on the label here to warn somebody that's not supposed to have the product in their hands? Now, I represent cannabis companies, and so I'm basically a defense attorney, and I have a perspective on this from the company's point of view. Is there anything that you can put onto a label that someone won't torture into saying, oh, it's marketed towards children? I mean, one of the things they said was that Stiiizy's stick vape pen had the colors and looked like a highlight pen. Okay, well, I took a look at the picture, and it's like, that don't look like no highlight pen I ever saw, but they can make all these claims they want. At the end of the day, we're going to find out through this litigation, where's the line drawn about marketing to children? Because Stiiizy clearly put onto its labels all it was required to put on. And right now, the causative factors for cannabis-induced psychosis still include a lot of words like may. These are correlations. No one has proven it yet. And some of this has to do with the nonsense the DEA has been engaged in for the last 50 years of preventing research into cannabis, unless it was really bad for you. Well, psychosis was not something they were dealing with predominantly, but if you go back to the 1800s when the Indian Hemp Commission went to insane asylums around India, they certainly found hash eaters that were psychotic. This is not a brand new phenomenon, but the problem here is that these plaintiffs have the burden of proof now. They have to prove that cannabis-induced psychosis is in fact caused by cannabis, and not that you are already pre-psychotic genetically. Maybe you're using cannabis because your symptom profile makes it easier to deal with them, and the psychosis comes out. This is part of the problems they had when they accused Molly of this years ago, when she approved someone's use of cannabis who was schizophrenic and on antipsychotic medications for the symptoms. Then he stopped taking them. They couldn't prove it then. I don't think they prove it now, although there is a strong correlation. It needs a lot more research. So what I'm hoping is that through this litigation, we get some objective criteria to use when you're working on a marketing program. Because I've been in these meetings before, and there's many a times where I've told them that fuck you are, you're not putting that on a marketing campaign. It's for children, it's going to be a problem for you. But most of the time it's like, hey, I don't know. This, it looks like this is marketing towards adults, but someone can turn it into whatever they want. I'm hoping out of this we get some objective criteria, how from a brand and marketing standpoint do you do this without being accused of marketing to children? And I'm interested to see if they can prove that this kid's psychosis was caused by cannabis. Although I think there's a lot of correlations there. They have the burden of proof. I'm going to throw this back at you because we'll talk about this again. These are parts of meetings that you have in companies where you're trying to get your brands out there, your products out there, and then not be subject to these kinds of lawsuits that could basically kill your company. Back at you. What do you guys think about this?
Dale, how old was this kid?
He was born in 2004.
He was born
in 2022. He was 18.
In 22. I mean, last time I checked, you have to be 21 or over to get into a dispensary. So could it be possible that he's talking about illicit products that he thinks are Stiiizy that aren't actually Stiiizy?
It's also possible that he was a med patient and did, in fact, buy this medical Stiiizy product in a store.
No, that's not his allegations. He's claiming he got it off Snapchat and other things. Like,
this is a trap product.
Products to people in Snapchat. Okay. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of problems in there about the cause of this cannabis-induced psychosis, but these discussions need to be had. You can keep yourself out of trouble, not be accused of marketing to kids. Mm-hmm. He didn't buy this from a dispensary because he couldn't have got in there.
I mean, not.
Go ahead, Jenny.
Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead,
okay.
Jenny.
Rough, man.
I mean, I don't know. The packaging argument, the marketing to kids argument doesn't hit for me here. Like, first of all, he is an adult, so he's not a child. But I think that Stiiizy's packaging is this form of more dull, bland packaging. It doesn't have all like the crazy stuff on it that would appeal to kids. It doesn't look like candy. It doesn't look like, it's like a silver box with either a green, purple, or red lettering and kind of attributes, right? So I don't know how Stiiizy's at fault here. Stiiizy, sorry. And I just think that, if this guy had a psychotic break, that sucks. But it sounds like a lot of lack of accountability here from this young man. And I just don't know that it's fair to Stiiizy to, in at least this case,
I mean, I just don't see how. I don't see how Stiiizy would even be liable for this. I mean, is that even possible, Dale? If it's a counterfeit product, that they're going to be liable for this? Because unless they can show like a proof of purchase from a retail dispensary, that I think Stiiizy's going to have like easy out to say that this wasn't our product. This is a counterfeit product. Da 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 da. It's not from us.
I mean, I would add to that even on top of that. I mean, what other cannabis products did this kid consume as a teenager? How can they directly correlate that it was the Stiiizy product that caused this and not something else? That's why I gotta agree with you, Jason. I think this is a frivolous lawsuit. They picked the biggest guy on the market that is, cash in their coffers and they're trying to get a payout out of it because. I highly doubt that Stiiizy was the only cannabis product this person ever consumed as a teenager, and therefore, how can you prove that it wasn't one of the other products or some other medication that you consumed that caused this?
Yeah, we don't know. We don't know what actual pharmaceutical medication this kid is taking, and if he's been housed in a mental little space or whatnot. And I mean, they make you go into little group sessions and they make you, and then they automatically diagnose you and start prescribing you more drugs while you're in there. So I'm not sure if I'm buying any of this. I think this is a total frivolous lawsuit.
I'm glad Dale covered this story because I saw it on Green Market Report. Their headline was funny. It's former teen sues Stiiizy claiming cannabis-induced psychosis, which I just thought was funny because, we're all former teens, but...
Yeah. Well, the problem initially is what we call standing. If you never bought that product, you don't have the packaging. You can prove, I got it. It was sold with a COA through a legitimate business. Now, I don't think you have standing to sue Stiiizy unless you can prove that these are a Stiiizy product that they put out in the market intentionally. Someone didn't steal from them or steal in their IP name. I mean, when you get into these things, and I put my litigation hat on, the first thing I go is I file a demur and say you don't have standing here. Make them prove they have standing, that they actually bought Stiiizy products. And then I bring in psychologists for marketing to show that Stiiizy does not market. Get everybody involved in those marketing decisions to come in and testify. We never intended to market to children. We did these things because of these reasons, not for children. But that's hundreds of thousands of dollars of attorney time down the road. You like try to get these things thrown out, and I think they have some issues here proving that this was a Stiiizy product, even though he claims, oh, I saw it on the web and I read their stuff and it seemed like it was safe. Yeah, you're fucking 17 years old. Where in the hell are your parents? This is what irritates the shit out of me. My kids used to steal my weed and think I didn't know it, okay? Didn't know what they were doing, and I did, okay? And parents need to be around somewhere. Even if you can't stop your kid from vaping, you can certainly be up their ass about what they're doing and get a handle on your kids and not make it the responsibility of the rest of the world to take care of your kids when they're teenagers and being fucking idiots with their head up their ass.
100%. 100%.
Totally agree. You have any thoughts on this, Rico, before we move on?
Yeah, man, this is just trying to kick Stiiizy while they're down. Like, this is some bullshit in my mind. I mean, obviously we'll have to wait and see what happens, but seems like some bullshit, man. I know not everybody was born a grown-ass man like myself.
Boy. Oh boy. Yeah, and on that we're going to go to a commercial. We're going to be right back.